me, there's nothing more beautiful than watching a man and his wife try not to smudge each other's bronzing cream. You know, she greets him like he made a delivery to her art gallery.
Breaking news. Trump's Twitter fingers worked overtime last night, firing off 12 angry messages in just 1 hour. What could have possibly triggered such a furious response? 2 words: Colbert and Kimmel. These comedy heavyweights unleashed a barrage of jokes so savage they left Trump seeing red. Literally, his face turned redder than his tie. Want to know what they said to get under his thin orange skin? Keep watching. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Now everyone, let's talk about the ridiculous hand-holding incident that caused Colbert to laugh so hard that he was rolling around on the ground. Have you recalled the time when Trump made an attempt to take Melania's hand during that rally?
Now, things may seem tense with Donald and Melania, but they also just spent last week on vacation together, so maybe they patched things up.
He didn't condemn the violence on January 6th because she was busy going over White House renovations that day.
It's nice to relax and spend time with the people I love. And also the president. Hey!
Colbert most certainly did, and he had no intention of letting that wonderful opportunity slip through his fingers like the numerous attempts at love that a particular person had made. Just picture this, taking Melania's hand as if it were the last piece of pizza at a buffet in the White House. Trump is grabbing her hand with all his might. What about you, Melania? Her refusal to budge is unwavering. The experience is entertaining, but ultimately pointless, much like watching a young child attempt to catch a football that is covered in grease. Due to the fact that Colbert is a master of comedy, he made it impossible for him to avoid attacking this straightforward target. The audience laughed out loud when he made a ridiculous comparison between Trump's attempts to seize the hand of the president and something else. You should be ready for this, right? Colbert likened it to the experience of observing an attempt to rouse a trout that had been dormant.
I see. Thank you. You don't see that every day.
Oh.
Only Donald Trump would call his wife in to watch a top secret mission like it was a TikTok of a baby hippo or something.
So everything's happy with you and your husband?
Oh, everything is so wonderful with me and my husband.
Get moving. Who even believes that to be true? The production of these zingers appears to be the responsibility of a group of comedic writers who are putting in long hours in a basement somewhere. The crowd went completely insane. Due to the fact that they were laughing so much, you might get the impression that they had just witnessed a cat attempting to use an iPhone. Alternatively, it's possible that they were imagining Trump attempting to woo a salmon while he was knee-deep in a river and wearing a fishing hat. Either way, it was a hilarious experience. Colbert, on the other hand, was not yet finished. Not at all. He was just getting his comedy grill ready to go. Sorry. One of the jokes that he used to make fun of Trump was the well-known "where that hand's been" joke. This is the norm. Because it is both familiar and satisfying, it is comparable to the comedy equivalent of comfort food in that it is both familiar and satisfying. The collective "ooh" that the audience let out as they pictured all of the potential places that the tiny hand might have visited was almost audible. It is possible that after hearing these jokes, Donald Trump's face turned redder than his tie. I do not know how you feel about this, but I am fairly certain that this is the case. You are aware of the response that he gives whenever someone makes fun of him. This is similar to the experience of seeing a tomato shaped like a human attempting to use Twitter.
Good, so we shouldn't believe the claims about your marriage in Omarosa's book?
Oh, of course not, Stephen. She is a wakinola.
2019, her husband called her in to watch a classified military operation even though she didn't have security clearance.
What kind of person ends up in the White House after being on The Apprentice?
When it comes to Twitter, it is highly probable that President Trump was frantically tapping away on his phone in an effort to come up with a strategy that would allow him to make a comeback. However, if we are being completely honest, it would be the equivalent of bringing a spork to a gunfight in order to compete against Colbert in a game of wits. The story of Old Donnie is not going to have a happy conclusion anywhere. Just when we thought the Trump roast was over, Jimmy Kimmel showed up and joined in on the fun. The heat was brought on by him. Boy, Kimmel exclaimed, "This is comedy gold," after becoming witness to Trump's clumsy attempt to make physical contact with Melania. To put it simply, he didn't hold back. Kimmel did not waste any time going straight to the point, or perhaps more accurately, the bottle of spray tan. Kimmel unleashed a zinger on us just as we were all rolling with laughter. He made the observation, there's nothing more beautiful than watching a man and his wife try not to smudge each other's bronzer cream. Are you able to picture it? What would happen if two orange mannequins collided at Macy's while they were trying to avoid leaving any streaks behind?
To me, there's nothing more beautiful than watching a man and his wife try not to smudge each other's bronzing cream, you know?
Please welcome our next Commander-in-Chief, my husband, President Donald J. Trump.
This appearance, it was as if they caught her in a glue trap at Saks Fifth Avenue and dragged her there.
Kimmel came to the conclusion that this was the case when he observed the Trumps. Despite this, Kimmel was not yet finished. He was just getting started. Oh my goodness. As is common knowledge, he decided to focus on Trump's wallet, which is undoubtedly the most vulnerable part of his body. Kimmel's joke was, even their prenuptial agreement has a prenuptial agreement. How awful. Something like that must hurt more than a sunburn from a bad golf course. According to what we are all aware of, Trump cannot afford to overlook anything. On the surface, he looks like a dog with a bone, but the bone is actually his shattered ego. Of course, he had no choice but to respond. As per Trump's assertions, Kimmel was suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. Donnie, you have committed a serious error. During a humorous gunfight, a water pistol is not the appropriate weapon to use. Kimmel, a comedian known for his quick wit, responded to them more quickly than Trump could tweet the phrase, fake news. He made the statement that the only person with Trump derangement syndrome is Trump himself. Howdy. Individuals, this is what we refer to as a self-burn. In that particular instance, Trump was directly involved.
She greets him like he made a delivery to her art gallery.
You are literally trampling the Bill of Rights?
No, Steven, do not say that.
Look at the way these two lovebirds interact with each other. Their chemistry, it's positively smoldering.
I couldn't help but think of a hilarious contest of tag. Colbert and Kimmel were bouncing off of each other, which resulted in an explosion of humor that focused on Trump. With these two on fire, poor old Trumpy was being roasted from all sides while these two were on fire. Due to the fact that it happened, you almost feel sorry for the guy. Almost exactly. The issue is that Trump continues to supply these comedians with material to work with. It appears as though he is coming up with their jokes for them. Trump is essentially a walking joke due to his orange glow, his outbursts on Twitter, and his, let's say, unusual approach to romance. He is a walking joke, so what about Kimmel and Colbert? What they are is nothing more than the men who are holding up the mirror. I am writing to inform you that it would appear that our late-night comedians have found success once more. In addition to being hilarious, the Trump roast that Colbert and Kimmel performed had a significant impact on the audience. In particular, among younger audiences, it has been demonstrated that political satire can increase both awareness and engagement for the audience. Who would have thought that laughing at grumpy Trump could be a form of education? The worst part is that Trump is only feeding the comedy monster whenever he loses his temper on Twitter over these jokes. This is the worst part. Just like watching a cat chase its own tail, but with very small hands and an orange coat, this is a very similar experience. As his appearance deteriorates, he provides the comedians with more material to work with, and his appearance also deteriorates. It is a vicious cycle that humor follows. Consequently, the next time you are experiencing feelings of depression due to politics, it is important to keep in mind that laughter is not only the most effective medicine, but it is also our secret weapon against inflated egos and bad hair days. Our late-night heroes proved in this contest of wits that a sharp tongue is always preferable to a tirade on Twitter. They demonstrated this by engaging in this contest. You've got it. Donnie Diapers right there.